It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Chief, Bart Brunsheen.
Hi, this is the Chief from the Dice Tower, and today I'm going to be reviewing Pocket Kung Fu, which is another Game Crafter type game, or comes from Game Crafter, and it comes in a very small little package that you can literally take everywhere with you. And this is standalone set number 1. It's by Jason Greeno. It uses kind of a kung fu simulation with cards. So let's go in and take a closer look.
Okay, here's Pocket Kung Fu. This pack comes with 4 individuals that have different styles: mantis, monkey, crane, dragon. You can see their health or their chi here, and the amount of actions they can take in a turn here. So in this case 5 and 4, and I'll bring these up a little bit, or we'll zoom in on them so you can get a little look here. Let's see what we can do here. We'll zoom in on this little gal here, and you can see just her 5 and her 4. These are the attack corners. That would be how much damage that she would do if she were to hit someone with this corner or tip of her card. You can see some of the values are different, and I'll get into more of that when we get into the actual gameplay. Another key factor is when we're playing, this little colored portion is considered their open area, or the area that could be attacked with this little attack burst. The black area is considered a block. And an interesting factor of this card is that in the defensive mode, when you move it over, the color area completely reverses. So if someone was getting ready to attack your open area, or you knew they could, you could move into a defensive stance, and you could see it becomes a block area. Again, we'll get into that when we start to show a little bit of gameplay. The other important thing on these cards are these pivot points. When you move, you can pivot on any one of these points here, and each of the different styles has a little bit of text on it that I won't go into. These are their chi cards. Corresponding colors go with the color, and it just is a way for you to track your hit points. There are weapons and a little master that can be found. They're all colored differently. They'll be in the play area, the play space, and I'll go in. Other than this fella, if you get him, he just gives you more health back. These other ones are weapons that I'll get into when we go into the play area as well. Okay, one of the first things is that when you're playing the game, your characters will be further away than they are here, but you're encouraged to use real-world items as obstacles or barriers in the game. So I have a little coffee cup and my phone, and they can be used obviously to keep an opponent from getting up on you or moving up on you, but they can also be used to kind of like kick off of or jump off of kung fu style stuff. The game comes with these little cards that explain some extra rules. So if you're going to leap, if I was going to do a long leap, I would simply show this here, move up. That is one action, one of my 3, and that would be a leap. I can then do a short leap if I chose to, using the card to measure that out, and move up this way. And that's simply how your movement works. Combat works this way. My open areas, or the areas that aren't blocked, are these little front areas here that are blue. So I'm going to have to be careful. His areas are gold. So if I was able to make contact with his character, especially with this part of my card, that is a 3. Give you a little bit of closer look here, see if I can get him well lit. He's got a 3 value, and if I can get it to overlap any part of the gold, that'll count as a hit. He would lose 3 chi in this case. And that's as simple as it goes, is you're always maneuvering your card so that one of your bursts, which in this case on this side of the card or on either point, will come in contact with his unblocked area. The black area is blocked. If I hit here, that wouldn't do any damage at all. Up here, damage. You see if I switch, everything changes here. This is my defensive stance. It's a little bit weaker in terms of the damage he can do. And it gives me a couple little bonuses on things, but it also weakens my attacks. So And that's it. That's the key part, is the overlapping of the hits. I'll bring in the weapons. You can come across these weapons in the game, and if you've equipped your character with a weapon, what you do is you come in and you measure from any one of your bursts to see if you can do the exact same thing. So here would be a miss, but I can measure far enough over that that would be a hit, and I would have gotten him with the sword. The spear has a little bit longer range. If you look here, this little blue marker is your range. So you can see the spear can go the full length of the card, so he's got a little bit better chance to hit. And the nunchuck, very short range. Its little bonus is that it can actually hit 2 different targets on the same turn if you're able to. And in this case, he'd be able to hit into his unblocked zone as well. This is the part I actually like, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in the review. The complexities that come in with trying to get your starburst aligned with a weak area that's unblocked is actually somewhat difficult, and does give me a little bit of a feel of the martial art of, kung fu or whatever. As soon as I'm moving in to get this shot, the guy might have, I might have had a perfect deal where I knew I could move in, but on his turn he'd gone to a different stance, and all of a sudden the area that I could hit is now blocked. So there was a lot of that little interplay that was going on in there. There's a few different rules that when you come in contact with another fighter, not with a weapon, but with your actual fighter, there'll be a knockdown or a knockback, actually, where he will be knocked back the same length or amount of length as the number of hits. So if my dragon style master here did 3 damage, this individual with the mantis style would end up going back the length of 3, depending on the side that hit him, which would be the length this way of 1, 2, 3. Now you're supposed to measure it all out. I'm just kind of paraphrasing. But that's an interesting aspect. It keeps you from usually getting overwhelmed. It allows you to kind of retreat and regroup. There's also some collisions that could happen if you have multiple fighters, where if you're getting knocked back, you can get stopped and you each get damage and some different things. This whole aspect of the way you have to come in contact with the card, very interesting.
All right, so we've had the closer look, and you've seen some of the real good parts I like, in particular the way the cards work with the attack areas, and the way you can flip the stances around into a defensive stance or an attack stance. Some of the things I didn't really like on it are the different styles of the fighters. The mantis, the dragon, the monkey. Although there are different power values to them, I didn't feel like they were different enough to matter to me. It wasn't like I really wanted to go in and use a particular style. I'm no kung fu master. From watching some of the kung fu movies, to give an example, I kind of like the drunken master and the whole style of that. When you watch the movie, you get a good feel for that. It's kind of funny and campy. I didn't really get the different styles in this. There are different powers to them, so I get that. I wasn't a particular fan of the art. I know this is kind of almost a pre-release item through the Game Crafter. If this ever goes into more final production, I would love some real good art on the different actual characters and their styles. Other than that, I love the way the rotations work, the weapons, and how they have different ranges, and that affects the movement of the individuals. I like how they can strike from their starbursts. And I did not think I was going to like this game when I first got it. It kind of sat on the back burner for a while. One, there wasn't much to it. It was very thin, and then you only use about half of those. I'm not a big fan of the fact that it's a simulation, but then in the playing area, I might be using this deck as an obstacle, maybe a soda can as an obstacle. To me, that kind of pulled me out of the simulation. I'm not sure how you get around that without actually doing full miniatures. So it works, it allows it to be super portable, and it's just something I didn't like. So, but other than that, I can't say enough. It did surprise me with what it brings and what I showed you in the closer look. I didn't think it would quite have that depth, and I really, really did find something there that I didn't expect. So I like the game. Obviously, this is the standalone set 1, implying that there's more sets, more weapons, different styles. So there's actually potential for this. So that's it. This is the Chief from the Dice Tower. Thanks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.